On Sunday, we have Manchester City travelling away to the Bramall Lane to visit Sheffield United, a team that hasn't started particularly well. They've just come back into the Premier League. They are not the Sheffield of old that we recall, Timothy. I don't think that perhaps they've not developed from the first time, but coming back into the league, perhaps they have something to say, especially when they meet these big sides. But this is a routine game for Man City. When you look at how they've played in the first two games, how they ground out a result against Newcastle in the past fixture, it showed another side of Man City perhaps that we didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was so impressed with Man City. Newcastle totally looked like they were going to stage.
They looked like the bigger side in portions of the game.
Fight at the Etihad, but the way Man City controlled the game, they didn't allow Newcastle to play their game, and I think they have that ability to look at the opponent, weigh out their options, and then.
But is it a bigger compliment to Newcastle?
I think it's
that Man City had to grind out.
Yeah, I think we have to give Newcastle the compliment, because not many teams go there and get
100%.
the best third result of any fixture, which is a 1-0 loss.
Correct.
Yeah. Correct. So I think back to Man City, they should be able to go to Sheffield United and pick a result comfortably. Sheffield, like you said, have not been the side that we saw 2-3 years ago, but with Man City still looking shallow, they've made some signings. We said on the game week 1 that Man City will have to go to the market.
They had to,
and they've gone to get Doku there. I don't know what's your opinion about Doku. For me, I've seen him as a dribbler. I don't know his stats very well. He's not been in the bigger stage, but now he's in the bigger stage.
No, it's a huge one for Man City. Of course, they brought in Jeremy Doku, of course, for about £54 million. So that's a huge signing by all proportions. He was the top dribbler in Europe last season for most tackles. If you look at his statistics, he has a couple of goals. He has come in to replace Riyad Mahrez, really on the right wing, where we had said they had to find a way of replacing that particular fixture. And of course, he has been recommended by Kevin De Bruyne. So it will be very interesting to see how he does. We are all excited to see what he's capable of, especially in terms of goals, because Riyad Mahrez was coming up with very, very key goals for Man City in very big games. So Doku has, of course, something to prove, but he's a very young man. He can really adapt, especially to the play that Pep.
What does that mean to this other player? The Man City young boy who was playing the right
Cole Palmer. Palmer is developing well, definitely. I think we've seen him for now 3 years, coming on as substitute, scoring a few goals in the Champions League, playing a couple of Carabao fixtures. He's still developing, and I know that Pep trusts him, but definitely perhaps not the long-term solution.
Tony, why I did mention about Palmer quickly, he's asked Pep, is he going to have more game time? If that's not guaranteed, he wants a move to Dortmund.
That's a big one we need to keep our eye on, because if you look at the game, the way he played in the Super Cup, the way he played against Arsenal in the Community Shield, he has the capability to do something good in a game. I've been watching, keeping an eye on him. He's very brilliant. He's a brilliant talent. He's fearless. So it will be very interesting, definitely, with the arrival of Doku. It means reduced minutes. And we know that Foden, even when Kevin De Bruyne comes, Foden can operate there. Bernardo Silva can operate there. So it's still very few minutes. If it had to get to that point where he has to exit, most likely, perhaps if it were me, I would go to Dortmund to get those guaranteed minutes. But you know that staying with Man City right now guarantees you trophies. So it's a trade-off, especially for a young player. We'll see what he does there. But we know going into this game, Pep Guardiola will not be on the touchline. He had a back surgery. He's been struggling with some pain, we are told. So he had a back surgery. He'll be off the touchline. So he has his helper that will be stepping in. Erling Haaland is a player that's expected to get some goals in this particular fixture. He drew a blank against Newcastle. They did well to contain him. He missed a couple of chances, but definitely they did well to contain him. He scored 2 against Burnley. This is another one where I expect him to come big and show us the Haaland that he is.
Yeah, I mean, Sheffield United, Tony, you don't expect them to offer the resistance that Newcastle did. So even without Kevin De Bruyne, there will be chances that will be available for.
And Foden and Alvarez have been filling in well. They've been creating chances.
So I would be shocked if it doesn't go without a goal in this fixture. And looking at the other number 9s, Haaland is the number 9 who waits. He's okay to touch the ball 9 times, but in those 9 times, at least he has two goals in them. So I think just like they approached the Burnley game, they should be able to dominate this Sheffield team and get a good decent result.
Manchester City, of course, have what it takes. Definitely, they have a good squad. They've added some very good additions. We are seeing Virgil trying to fit into that side. He's started mostly as a left back. He's definitely a centre back, but of course, they still have a few issues in the left back to also contend with. That's why perhaps he's playing there. We'll see if he continues in that role or if Ake comes back and plays as a left back. That's another point for us to look out to. But generally, Man City should have what it takes in this particular fixture. I've gone for another high-scoring game for this one. I've gone for 4-0 Man City.
I'm keeping the same score that they scored against Burnley, 3-0.
Very, very big one coming to you at 4:30 p.m. East African time in Uganda. Don't miss that. Share with us your thoughts as well on our social media pages. We'll be back with Liverpool taking on high-flying Newcastle.